Yo, what's up guys? So we're back with another video about password attacks. So what is a password attack? A password attack is a way of getting login credentials for a web application or server logins. And as a disclaimer, there will be a demo after this educational portion of the video, and this is illegal, so make sure you have consent of the other party in order to carry out this attack. The first password attack we'll be discussing is the brute force attack. So this brute force attack tries all the possible combinations of passwords that a user could log in. Examples could be 0001, 0002, etc. It's not limited to only numbers, it could be both numbers and letters. So there are some downsides to this attack in that they take a long time and requires a lot of processing power to cycle through all the combinations possible. Because of these disadvantages from brute force attacks, we have the dictionary and word list attacks. These attacks use dictionary word combinations or word lists to try to guess passwords. Examples of this could be Apple123, QWERTY, password, admin, all of which are very weak passwords. So this is more efficient than brute force because it doesn't have to search through all combinations of passwords. Instead, it finds common or leaked database passwords. And users are more likely to have these passwords because they're more likely to type in words from a dictionary or words that pertain to themselves to remember them. This is the attack we'll be carrying out today in our demo. Moving on to a little bit more complicated attack, we have the rainbow table attack. So as a little background information for this attack, passwords are stored as hashes in databases. What a hash is a string of characters generated from an algorithm from a text input. This is known as cryptography. Cryptography is a way for people managing systems to be able to disguise information when it's compromised. So an example for this is QWERTY, and then we run it through a random algorithm and then it puts out that text. Hashing is very useful because the hashes are only able to be translated one way, so you can't get a password from a hash. Also, every password's hash never changes. So if you have QWERTY with a hash, the hash will never change if it's ran through the same algorithm. So when logging in, the password is converted to a hash, which is compared to the database hash, making it more secure. So we as hackers could take advantage of this if we have a hash, in that we're able to find a password with the same hash by comparing the hashes. This bypasses the password attempt delays if they want to protect against brute force or dictionary attacks, and we're able to complete this attack completely offline. Before starting this demonstration, as a warning, this is illegal, so make sure you're trying this on your own web application. For this demo, we're going to be using this vulnerable web application. I will link it in the description below. So when you want to download it, you click this download mirror, the ISO file. Once your ISO file has finished downloading, you're going to want to create a virtual machine in VirtualBox. So to do this, you go to Tools, New, and then for the name you could do Vulnerable Web App. And then as a type, you go Linux, and then Ubuntu, either 64 or 32, depending on what you're running. All these default settings you could keep the same. And then here's your virtual machine. So to get it to work, you want it to go to Settings, Storage. Okay, and then you're here. And then you want to select the virtual disk that you're going to load the operating system on. For example, this will be our ISO file. So choose disk file, and then you sort through your downloads. Mine's right here. Open, and then press OK. To allow this web application to connect to the internet, you want to select it, press Settings, and then go to Network, and then make sure that this is host-only adapter with the name of the VirtualBox host-only Ethernet adapter 2. So once you're done with this, you could go ahead and boot up the machine. So this is our machine after we booted it up. When it gives you this prompt, you press enter and then enter again. So this is what your virtual machine should look like. There's no interface, it's only a terminal. So if you want to get out of this, you press the right control and then you'll exit out of the machine. After you finished booting up your vulnerable web application, you want to boot up Kali Linux as well. After you've done so, you want to go to your vulnerable web application and type in ifconfig. This outputs all the IP addresses, so you're able to connect to this vulnerable web application through Kali Linux. So in order to do this, you want to open up Firefox on Kali Linux and then type in the eth0 inet address. So for me, this is 10.10.1.14. So this is your vulnerable web application. Once you've successfully made it here, we could start our attack. In order to do so, you want to go to the terminal and then sudo as the root user. We're going to be using a program called Hydra in this tutorial, which cracks passwords. For this attack, we need a few bits of information. First, we need the username. We need the password list that we want to compare against the username password. And then we need the URL and then the post/get request. I'll tell you how to find this later. And we need the fail message. So first of all, we need the username. So for this web application, the username is just admin. So we could write admin into the username. And then for the password list, you're gonna want to go to this file path. So cd user share word lists. So then these are the different word lists we could choose from. For this tutorial, we're gonna use rocku.txt. In order to open this file, you want to unzip it. So you do gzip txt and then rocku.txt.gz. Once you've done so, it should look something like this. So for the password list we're going to be using, we could type in the file path user share word lists and then rocku.txt. So rocku.txt is a very useful password word list since it contains about 14 million passwords within, and it has a lot of common weak passwords as well. Moving on, now we need our URL. So in this case, our URL is just 10.10.1.14. And then we also need the part after the IP address, which is /login.php. So then this post get request we could find through testing a login. So we could do admin and then just any random characters. And then we want to right click and inspect element. After we do this, you want to go to network and then we need to be ready to catch the information that comes through. So login, don't save. So we could see we get a post request here to log in. So we could go back into Kali and then we know it's a post request. So for the fail message, we know that it's login failed now. So we want to just type that in. So now we have all the useful information that we need for this attack. To carry out this attack, we then type in a command with all of our information in it. So we start by typing Hydra, and then as you could see, this is our whole command. We do tac-l admin. So then this is the user we're trying to break into. And then a dash capital P, which is specifying the word list we want to use. If it's dash lowercase p, then we could try one password at a time, but that's not as efficient as this. And then we have our IP, and then the post get form, and then we have the login.php, which is the end of our URL in the application. So then we have this username and password syntax. So then you want to type in username equals caret uppercase user, and then password you do the same, and then pass, and then login equals login. So then this is specifying our login failed condition. So once you've typed in all of that, you want to press enter, and then Hydra should be working on finding a password. So that was pretty quick. In this case, the password was password and the login was admin. And then if we go to our vulnerable web application, you can type admin and then password, and we're in. This was the dictionary brute force password attack demo. I hope you found it helpful.